Hi guys, welcome to my next video. As I said in my previous video, I'm going to be doing some more reviews. At the moment, I'm sort of watching, among other things, I'm working through a New Year's resolution, which is to watch all of the films that won Best Picture at the Academy Awards from 1970 onwards. I won't necessarily be watching them in order, but today's video is based on the film Patton from 1970. Now, the film Patton was, as I said, released in 1970. It was directed by a director called Franklin J. Schaffner. One of the screenplay writers was actually Francis Ford Coppola, who you may have heard of as, a very, very big director. Did obviously The Godfather, Dracula, I believe, among many other big projects. Apocalypse Now, I think, as well. So quite a big person to have on board for this film. And it's 172 minutes long. Now, the film Patton is a biographical war film about the US General George S. Patton during the World War II. Now, I didn't know much about him at all, really. I knew that he was involved in World War II, but I'd never really had any idea as to part of his life or what he did, what he achieved, and so on. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to put the film on. So what I think of the film, I did enjoy the film. I thought it was good. I wouldn't say it was great. I'll just refresh you on my ratings. It would be 5 is amazing, 4 out of 5 is great, 3 out of 5 is good, which is enjoyable, 2 out of 5 is okay, 1 is not very good, and then 0 is obviously terrible. So let's just split my reviews into pros and cons and what I think overall. So start with the pros. The production value. The production value on this was insane. Obviously, when it was made in 1970, there was no such thing as CGI back then. And the best film I can think to compare it to is Lawrence of Arabia for its scale, the amount of extras, the vehicles, the tanks, the planes. I couldn't quite believe my eyes in that it wasn't CGI, it was real. Now, another pro would be the actual performance of the main actor who played Patton, and that was played by George C. Scott. He was fantastic. Now, I had a quick look on YouTube to see what the original Patton was like, and he didn't sound anything like him. But I looked in a review, or I looked in an article, sorry, and it said about how he didn't want to have the same sort of squeaky voice as Patton. He wanted to bring a more gruff, gravelly voice to the role. I think just something different to sort of stand out more. And the third pro I can think of would be the story was good. Obviously, I don't know the facts about his life. I've not read the book that it's kind of based on, or other other forms of literature it's based on. But I found it to be enjoyable. I found it to be informative. It gave a good story. It got a bit slow in some places, but like I say, when the action pieces came into it, it just woke you up, and I was just blown away by the production value of this film from 1970. The cons, the things I didn't like, as much as I love a good long film, to let it breathe and let it just really, let it, just take its time in telling a story. This felt too long, but it did feel like it was just being stretched out for the sake of it. And it did get a bit slow pace-wise throughout the film here and there. If it wasn't for the action moments, it would have become maybe quite boring for some people. And then you have the con, really, I suppose you could just say, is my general enjoyment of the film. Obviously, this is very, very much a personal preference, but I found it enjoyable and I found it watchable. I don't think I'd watch it again. In fact, I'm pretty certain I wouldn't watch it again. But I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad I enjoyed the performance of George C. Scott playing Patton. And it's something that I'm happy watched, and I enjoyed it overall. And as I sit here now, I think I might say I give it 3 out of 5 at the beginning of the video. I think it might be a 2 out of 5. Would I say it's a good film? I'm not sure, so I think I'd give it a 2 out of 5, which means it's okay. It was, it was okay. And I think that rings true with my view of the film. So, Patton, 1970, Best Picture winner, I give it 2 out of 5, okay.